I'm Andrew Webb. I'm the rural lead for the Yorkshire West Methodist District, and today we are here at Blakebank Farm with John Dawson, who's a local farmer. John, tell us a little bit about Blakebank and why it's a special place, an important place to you.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, Blakebank's been in the family for 100 years, just over 100 years. They came just after the First War. Our folks came as tenants and they managed to buy the farm in 1927. And we've been here ever since. My great-granddad called it a financial disaster from which the Dawsons would never recover. And he may well yet be proved right, who knows. I don't think Blakebank is particularly a special place. It is to me, obviously, because it's our family home where we've raised our children and still enjoy living. But I think what it represents is possibly more special and a bit more how it interacts with the countryside, with food production, with nature conservation, with carbon sequestration. It does all those things. So I think what it means in the national park is more special than it actually is. But it represents something that's very special, which is the family farm.
And what are some of the big issues facing farmers at the moment, John?
We could write a book.
There's a lot.
We could write a book about big issues. I think it depends on what you consider a big issue. Obviously, government support is changing. For instance, the single payment scheme, the basic payment scheme is going. And over the years that has allowed us to build in a buffer to our little farm business, in that we don't have to farm very hard, we don't have to keep lots of animals. We can silly things like take 1 cut of silage, keep 60 milk cows, and let the curlews get off the ground in the summer. Things like that. Whereas the advice we're now getting is the basic payment scheme is going, you must replace that with something, and the obvious thing that we're being told is to keep twice as many cows, put another shed up, put some fertiliser on, make more silage, 2 cuts or 3 cuts of silage. And that's not what we want to do. So we're still exploring ways about how we can carry on farming here, which we want to do, but we must have that lifestyle, that modest level of food production. I've always firmly believed, and still firmly believe, that there's home for nature on every farm, and there certainly is on this one. So yeah, there's lots of challenges, and then of course I do also think that the farming community is misunderstood and misrepresented. I think we've been tarred with a very broad brush that starts in North America and goes right down through South America and somehow finds its way to Blakebank. I don't know how. We cannot be heard.
One of the things we're exploring as a district is about the climate crisis. Sometimes I think you've just spoken about farmers getting a bad press, but I know in some of the conversations I've shared with you, you've talked about some of the ways actually that farming is having a positive impact on the climate and trying to engage with some of those issues. Do you want to just say a bit about that?
Yeah, I can talk climate change till the cows come home. I really can. For instance, I was in a meeting with the National Park only a few weeks ago, and because of how it's funded, the National Park has to lower its carbon footprint, and they came to the Land Management Forum, which they meet with farmers occasionally, which I really enjoy and grateful that they do that. And they wanted to know what ideas we had to lower the National Park's carbon footprint, and I said, well, that's easy. There's upwards of 8,000 aeroplanes in the air at any time, night or day. I'm told it's the equivalent size population of Birmingham. So all you have to do is close your airspace. That's 300 planes a day not going over the national park. That's the biggest single factor, but they can't do that, obviously. So I said, the next obvious thing then is just as easy. Stop inviting people to visit. And they can't do that either, you see. So those are the two biggest factors. So now they come back, well, what can we do with the farms? Well, they can do away with the farms in the national park. It won't make any difference to climate change. our farm here is extensive grassland. We have up to 18% carbon in our soils at any one time. And that's huge really, because for instance arable land has up to 3%, and then they plough it every year, which releases it. Trees store all the carbon in the leaves and the biomass, so when the tree dies or it's harvested, out it comes. It's the soil here will store the carbon forever, and it'll do that, and it'll provide a home for curlews, lapwings, any kind of mother nature you fancy will live on our farm. And whilst it's doing all that, it's producing food for free. Now, last time I looked, nobody ever went on an aeroplane because they needed to. So I have huge issues with being misrepresented, that the farmers are the problem with climate change. They are not. I've got some challenges with, I don't like industrial farms. I don't like big, heavy, dirty industrial farms. But people have to accept that they're like supermarkets, in that with the pursuit of cheap food, we've made them what they are. We complain about supermarkets and the loss of the family high street and the shops in the street, and the family farm is like the small shop in the high street. You don't realise it's not there until suddenly it's not there. It's like electric and water. It's a huge factor really. But little farms like ours, it's just what we need. It's part of the solution, not these big industrial farms. But if a farm's selling chickens and his margin is 2p per chicken, he can't rear 30 chickens a week, can he? It's got to be 50,000, and that's what puts the pressure on. How many people go into the supermarket and look for food that is produced in the right way, or do you just go in and buy it on price? That's the challenge. Take pride in what you eat. If you take as much pride in what you eat and what you buy as I do in producing it, we'll all be fine.
Yeah. What about a joy? What brings you joy on your farm?
Oh, there's no joy to be had on a farm.
I don't believe that.
It's only death and destruction. You know, I consider myself, there's a few things that make me very content, and one is that I'm able to be out of the house and at work. I don't have to travel to Manchester or Liverpool or get in a car. I get to see some great sights. I get to see the seasons rolling round. I love winter. Those lovely dark nights, having a cup of tea at 4 o'clock, then going out for a few hours of cowing up, that's another story, till about 7 o'clock, and coming in, the fire's lit, the supper's on, and just rolling round with the seasons. The sheep are pregnant now, they're going to give lamb in March, then we'll roll into summer, the daffodils are appearing, the grass will start growing. The cows go out in summer, which is one of the highlights to every farmer's life. Cows going out in summer, coming in winter. So we have 600 lambs, 650, even 700 lambs born. Everyone is terrific. We have 70 or 80 calves born every year. We get to see all that. We get the disasters and the triumphs, and we treat those two imposters the same as you should. So it's the lifestyle. It's being outside. It's silly things like having a dry stone wall to repair when Australia are on the radio and they're 29 for 3, that sort of thing. The little things, all of it.
Yeah. Great to hear your enthusiasm for what you do. That's fantastic. So part of the reason we're recording this is to give people who perhaps don't have a chance to come and visit the farm a bit of an insight into what it's about and what it's like. Is there one thing you'd want to say to those who are going to watch this, some of the Methodists from around the district? Is there one thing you'd like to say to them that they might do to support their farmers? And
there's lots of things I'd like to say to them.
I'm sure you would. Well,
I would say, if I could leave one message, it would be: take pride in what you buy, what you feed your children, what you eat yourself. If you take as much pride in that as I do in producing it, I know that you can trust me with the environment, with the food production, that I will do my very best. And I'm not sure that you can say that if you don't know where your food's coming from. Are you happy for it to come from America or Australia or Africa? Or do you want it to come from a farm like ours, the family farm in the north of England, or wherever it is in England or the UK? Because I know, I speak to a lot of farmers, and I know you can trust us, but you have to trust us and back us as well. Just back the farming community. It's a lot to offer. That's all.
Thank you very much, John. Really appreciate your time today, and what a joy to be able to come and see this wonderful view.
Yes, Blakebank is better today.
Yeah.
It used to be called Blake in the 1870s and 1880s, but they seem to change its name, and I can only assume somebody had a bad winter.
Yeah,
At some point.
It was pretty bleak.
It was pretty bleak that day, and we've had some bleak weather.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't swap it. I consider myself lucky to be in the national park. We get on very well with the national park, and just trust us, really. Leave us to it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. No, you're welcome.